Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I'm Sheena, and with me today is my beautiful, sexy, wonderful, and delightful smelling wife, Tamara. And in a second, you will find out why I'm mentioning her delightful odor.
Odor is such a gross word.
It is, but it's what we're talking about today, more or less.
More it is. So we're talking about smell and how it's
Part of the 4D sense.
now it would dead smell. So we're talking about how smell can make you more attractive to someone else. Or does smell attract lesbians?
What we're really talking about is a study.
Okay, so there was a study out in around 2005 where they looked at how people of different sexual orientations reacted to smell of different people.
Was it the smell of the people or pheromones from the people? Or is it really the same thing?
It's the same thing because what they did is they swatched urine and sweat and then distilled pheromones from that to smell. So I didn't give you like a cup of pee to smell.
Did the pee win?
It depends. If you're a hetero male.
Okay, wait, let's start at the beginning. Who's pee and who's sweat and what happened?
Okay, so they looked at lesbians or women who prefer women. They looked at gay men. They looked at straight men and straight women.
Okay.
Okay, so what they did was they looked at these groups and then they gave them different things to smell. And part of this was the AND, which is a male pheromone,
Okay.
which was in the sweat, and EST, which is a female pheromone, which was in the urine.
Do you know if they gave them pheromones from different...
Yes, from different people,
Okay.
with different orientations. Okay.
Okay.
So this is part of what's important about the study because it's really not about what you're smelling, it's about who you are as well.
Okay.
Okay. What they found was that straight male brains and lesbian brains light up in the same way when they are given the smell of women. Okay.
So the female pheromone.
Yeah, so the female pheromone, which is the EST.
I'm not terribly surprised by that. Okay.
So just like from a straightforward basic level, they light up the same. So you're attracted to very similar things.
Okay, so what happened with the gay males when they smelt the female pheromone?
Nothing.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay. Alright.
Okay, and then the straight women were like their brains lit up very similarly to the gay men's brains when they smelled the male pheromone.
Okay.
Alright, but it becomes a step more complicated.
Okay.
Because we're just talking gender here, male versus female, and I know that there are other genders, but we're talking about biological gender right now.
Okay.
So straight up biological male, straight up biological female.
Okay.
So yeah, so they had people smelling all sorts of things, which just sounds delightful. But what they discovered was that gay men prefer the smell of gay men.
Oh.
Okay. Right, and they found that lesbians prefer the smell of lesbians.
Okay.
Which to them was shocking.
So somehow we can detect, even if it's like in a deep sort of lizard brain consciousness, we can detect other lesbians with our noses.
Mm-hmm. And straight people can also detect
straightness
because gay men didn't react in the same way to straight male smells.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to gay male smell in particular is what they liked. So it has to do. Look, the straight men don't react to the male one anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
do you think this has to do, or this is part of gaydar?
That's what makes me wonder because, like, you can't deny that there is something to gaydar, and people I think a lot of the time thinks it's about micro expressions. So someone does something which is very gay or whatever it is, or it has to do with the way you dress or cut your hair, but you can't always tell straight off.
Scent is such a deep emotional thing for us, though. Think about how often, like, you'll smell fresh baked bread and you'll get an emotional reaction to it. It'll remind you of, your grandmother baking bread or whatever it is. Often smell triggers memories and so on. So smell is a very strong sense for us. So it's very possible that this has something to do with gaydar. I don't think it's the only thing to do with gaydar, because like you can look at somebody on TV and say, hey, that person's dinging my gaydar.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The whole thing with this is that it's not just where the smell comes from, it's also who's smelling it. So that plays as a bigger role in this as the smell itself. So straight men and straight women weren't really turned on by the smell of gay men. They didn't, it did nothing for them.
Okay.
But for straight women, the smell of straight men lit up their brains. So it's.
Okay.
Yeah.
And lesbians for lesbians. And
Mm-hmm.
But in the study also, I think you mentioned that there's one group that most of the other groups didn't like.
Yes, gay men.
Gay men.
Yes.
So the smell of gay men did less for everybody else than lesbians.
Yes. For whatever reason, the smell of gay men is only liked by gay men.
Interesting.
Yeah. But this whole study, it isn't completely set in stone. There are some things about it that people don't like. One of the things is that the pheromones that they used were synthetic pheromones. So they got it from people, but it was distilled into a pheromone. It wasn't a natural pheromone.
Would that make a difference?
People say it would.
Okay.
Okay. So they didn't take, a swab of sweat and say, here, smell this. Okay. Another thing is that pheromones are picked up by the vomeronasal organ, and this is an organ whose sole function in life is to sniff out pheromones. And it's, found in all sorts of animals, from snakes to larger mammals, and that's all it does. In humans, however, there's a debate as to whether we actually have them or not, and if we do have them, if they work at all. Because what scientists have found is that some people seem to have them while others don't.
So like through autopsies and stuff, they cut people open and there's one and there isn't one.
Yeah, and it's also really, really tiny, so it's not exactly the easiest thing to find. And if it does exist, whether it's actually hooked up to anything. It's kind of like the gallbladder, that it's a vestigial organ, which they think might be there but might not actually do anything.
Huh.
Yeah. But on the upside, not all pheromones need a vomeronasal organ to be sniffed up.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, your normal olfactory senses can take care of it. So
I definitely think there's something to do with smell though, because like I love the way you smell, right? And it makes me want to get all snuggly and nuzzly with you. But I can't stand the way males tend to smell. Do you know what I mean? Like they can douse themselves in perfume to their heart's content, but I'm just, the male stuff, whatever it's called. And that's fine. And it's not that they're stinky, it's just that it's like not pleasant for me.
Male musk does nothing for you.
Male musk does nothing for me.
Guess what? You're a lesbian. Okay, so
I'm Sheena.
And I'm Tamara.
And you've been listening to Let's Talk About It. We're here on Mondays, or, whenever you feel like it, since this is a podcast and it's listen on demand. You can find us on The Lesbian Talk Show. All you need to do is look for The Lesbian Talk Show on iTunes, Podbean, or Stitcher.
Yes, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, share with your friends, leave a review.
And generally come talk to us. Email us on podcast@thelesbiantalkshow.com.
Or come visit us on our
on our Facebook group, the Lesbian Talk Show Podcast Group, Chat Group. The Lesbian Talk Show Podcast Chat Group. My gosh, I did not make this easy to remember. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Not that I walk around sniffing women generally, like, hey, come here, let me smell you, whatever.
This would be totally great for that weird dating show, dating in the dark.
Yes, you can sniff out the lesbian in the room.
Yeah. Okay, so can you sniff out a lesbian?
Apparently you can.
In theory.
And women smell nicer than men. And everybody likes to smell.
Not always.
That's true.
No.
Deodorant is your friend, ladies. Bathing is also your friend.
Yes.
At least once a day.
No, the hygiene cost.
Ew. No. But for Amy, it's okay if you don't shave your legs. We're okay with that.
For Amy.